Hello friend, how are you? Welcome to Tripan Study Center. Today we are doing most important chapter of history. What is the topic today? Economics. Economics there is the most important according to here of middle period. The first point arrive here agriculture production. The agriculture production is the most important. Agriculture production is a constitute the block of production during to the middle period. The income from to the agriculture was a main source of state revenue. According to the agriculture production, there is first point here extent of cultivation. There is the most important here middle period the extent of the cultivation. The extent of the cultivation may be understood is a term of the actually area under to the plugging in the relation of the total available is a cultivable land. It is to be noticed that there was a favorable ratio of the land to the man. Ability of the land is a surplus than to the actually and cultivated by their peasant, and in such a situation on a increasing of production was the sharp there through the expansion of agriculture. The bearing is an area of the under cultivation. We are the informed to the instance by the is contemporary is a source that is a large tracts of the land in even such a fertile regions at the Ganga Yamuna, Dwabs and where is covered by the forest and the grassland during to the Sultanate period, and the land continued to the exit in a favorable ratio to be man during to the Mughal period as well. The ruler of this era, this therefore the harped on the policy of expansion of agriculture to the such as area which were heterogeneous and not under to cultivation. Agriculture was introduced to the tribals as a backward and outlying area, and forests were to the clear, and agriculture is the best land where to convert into the cultivable land. Extent of agriculture expanded in the good proposition from to the Sultanate to the Mughal period. By the Mongol period, is agriculture was a practice in almost all the part of the empire. Yet land still existed in the hugs as a surplus than to the actually requirement of the Mughal agriculture population. The extent of the cultivation significance increasing during to the reign of the Aurangzeb in a comparison to be Akbar as a reign. Then expansion of the cultivation in the Bihar and Awadh and part of the Bengal in the ascribed to be clearness of the forest where is the Punjab and Sindh to be separate of the canal network. The next here is a crop pattern. This crop pattern is the most important and middle period. The middle India is a patient means farmer. They produce a variety of food crop and the cash crop, vegetable and spices. And they were familiar with the various advanced techniques of the crop cultivation of their time. Double cropping, three crops is a harvesting, crop rotation, use of the manure and the range of the device for irrigation, etc. That is the most important here. And crop pattern is the first area of food crop. The principal food crop is produced by the rice of wheat and whereas millet, jowar, bajra and a variety of the pulses as such as a gram, arhar, moong, moot, urad and khesaris, etc. That is the most important for the middle India as a patient are produced. The next year a cash crop. Cash crop there is the sugarcane, cotton, indigo used to extract to the blue dye, and there is a opium, silk, etc. Where is the sum of the prominent of cash crop of middle India of making of wine from the sugar become a bad spare by their 14th century. During the Mughal period, the sugar cane was to most widely grow to the cash crop with there is a Bengal producing the fanciest equality. There is the most important, and during the Mughal period, Banaya is near to the Agra and the Case near to the Ahmedabad is produced the best quality of indigo. Sericulture is a rearing of the silk worm and the is a mulberries is a plant which was practiced on their modest scale till the Sultanate period and become a spirit during to the Mughal period. The Bengal is emerged as the main reasons of the silk production. There is the most important here. Bengal emerged as the main reasons silk of production. The Mughal provinces of Bihar, Malabar produced the finest as a quality of the opium. Tobacco cultivation was introduced in the India by the Portuguese as during to the 16th century, and it has become to the best pair in their subsequently period. And Gujarat, Bihar emerged also is a major tobacco producing center. There is also important Surat and Bihar emerged as a major tobacco producing center. Similarly, from the 7th century, cultivation of coffee began on the large scale. There is important and the important here C point, fruit and vegetables. Fruit crop is a cultivation developed rapidly during their middle period. Some of the Delhi Sultan is actively promoted growing of the fruit crops. Firoz Shah Tughlaq, from the instance, is laid down to the 1200 acre chart in the Vicinity of Delhi is a Mughal is employed, and there is a nobles also is planted to the lavish orchard. And during the course of the 16th and the 17th century, a number of fruits were to introduce in India through the outside agency. The progress, for the instance, are introduced to the pineapple, papaya, and the cashew nut, etc. The cherry was the both from to the Kabul, lychee, and the gababa were also is introduced during this is a period. A wide range of vegetables were also produced by the Middle India is a peasant. And the Abdul Fazal is the Anna in the Akbari. Anna Akbari is the most important for the Abdul Fazal. Give a list of vegetables which were in the use at the time. And potato, chilies, and tomato were is introduced during to the later middle period. The next here spicy. Spicy here the peppers, cloves, cardamoms, and turmerics, saffron, betel leaves, etc. Where is some of the important spices produced by the Middle India peasant. And by the Mughal period, the southern coastal of India began exporting in a large quantity of different kind of spices to various regions in the Asia and Europe. The next here is the most important means and method of irrigation. There is the most important here. The India agriculture has always depended on the various source of water, both natures and artificially, for it is a irrigational requirement by the rain, well, river, tank, canal, lake, etc. There is the most important here. The dam, lake, and water reserve were some of the important means of irrigation. In a South India, the state, local chiefs, and the temple is a management is a constructed a number of the dam of a river from the purpose. There is an important here, and the is a Mughal is a lake of the instance. The Mother Lake is instance was built by there is a Vijayanagar ruler on the Tukha Bahadura rivers in the meet their irrigational need of the adjoining of territories. Lake and the water reserves such as the Devar, Sagar, and the Rajamand, and the Jaymand, and all the Mewar. The Valsan is a Marwar, and the Sagar is a Amber, is etc. The serve there as important source of irrigation in the middle is a Rajasthan. Whereas is common source of irrigations where the uniformly separate in a different part of the country. A number of artificially devices were used to be left water from well. The pulleys were to the employed over to the well from the purpose, and another device is work on the lever principle. In this method, frog of the upright is beam was keep in the swing and the position with its one in tight with the long ropes, and the other is carried to the weight heavier than to the field blocked. The very sense is a well which began to be used in the Indian from to the Sultanate period. However, was the most advanced is a water lifting device of this period. In this method, a grey land of ports and attached to be a rim of well, a gear is a mechanism and was also attached to it. And with there is the help of the animal power, and this well was made to be rotate. The Delhi Sultan is particularly promoted to the canal irrigations, and the Ghiyaudin Tughlaq is AD 1320 to 1325 built a number of canal from the purpose. There is a most important period time of Ghiyaudin Tughlaq. There is 1320 to 1325 built a number of canal from this of purpose. However, the Firoz Shah Tughlaq is led to the largest network of canal. For such a canal is frequently mentioned as a contemporary source, and this varies from the Sutlej and the Ghagar. Sutlej and the Ghagar is the most important river here, and opening from the is a Davis, and there is similar hill is the Arasin, and for the Ghagar is the reaching up to the village of Hirasai is a Khera, and the executive to for the Yamuna and extended up to the Firozabad. The tradition of Delhi Sultan to be a constructed canal is continued by the Mughal Empire as well. The Nahar was in there is a instance is a built during to the Shahjahan is designed to carry water from the Yamuna and irrigate it a large area. The next topic is the most important here, a land revenue assessment and is the magnitudes of the land revenue as a demand. That is the most important topic. The chapter here is economics. The economics here is the middle state period, and that is the most important here. The middle state is derived to the largest share of its income from a land revenue. As the elaborate or mechanism of the land revenue or administration gradually developed due to the effort of their medieval ruler like Alauddin Khalji, Sher Shah Suri and Akbar. There is the most important here middle rulers like Alauddin Khalji, Sher Shah Suri, Akbar. It is a development from to the land revenue administration involves a well formulated policy, and this where is actually measurement of the cultivable land for the purpose of assessment of land revenue, and second here classification of the land on the basis of the fertility of soil, and third here is a fixation of the rate of the land revenue of demand and establishment of elaborate mechanism from its collection and working out of mediators from the assessment and collection of the land revenue in a cash. There is a most important here, and during the medieval period different method of revenue assessment and collection were used. The most simple and basis method was crop sharing or batai. Batai is the most important for this time period. The state fixed a content ratio of produce as a state as a share. In this method, out of the total produce, the state share was collected by the designed officially. Here the measurement of the land had no bearing, no revenue collection. The actually produced was the main focus of attention. Here is the most important point, the crop sharing. The crop sharing is the most important here. The three types of crop sharing was a practice, and this very first division of the crop at the threshing floor after the grain was obtained, and second is a khet batai. The khet batai is a division of the field when the crop was standing, and third there is a land batai. The land batai is also important here, in which their crop was cut and scattered in the heaps without a separating grain. The share of the state was decided in this form. In the second method known as the is a concord, there is a measuring was important, and in this method land was a first measure. After the measurement the productivity of land was a estimate to fix the revenue demand per unit of the measuring area. Sher Shah is improve the method of assessment for estimating the productivity. Sample is a cutting from three types of land. There are good, middling and bad land was taken, and average yard was the obtained. This estate demand was fixed at the 1/3 of the average yard. Revenue demand per bigha for as every crop was declared and was now is a rye for the Sher Shah. There is the most important here, and during the initial year of Akbar, this rate where is the adopted from the whole empire, and here the state demand was expressed in a kind but could be collected paid in their cash after applying is a prevalent is a price on them. This is a third method was called Javat. Sign their assessment was is done on this basis of the measurement. Based on yard their share of the state was decided. The under Akbar there is a method was further refined. All the territory were divided into the revenue circles or dasturs. For each dastur is a circle per a bigha, a revenue rate of different crop in the cash based on productivity and prices was worked out. The problem of complying is the fresh rate every year of the different localities was overcome through the adoption of the NA. The SAL is a 10-year revenue rate as according to this is the average of the rates of the last 10 years was taken as a cash revenue rate for a particular crop. However, this where is a change at the is a regular interval and not a updated every years. In the beginning, it was the implemented in the province of Agra, Allahabad, Awadh, Delhi, Lahore, and Malwa. Later, it was extended to be some other region. However, at the no point of time, all the land is a particular region was a measured. That would be a suggest that even to the measured territory, some is the territories is remained to the unsourced. In such a situation, even the Jawati Israel region, other method of assessment and collection were followed in the almost all part of the country. There is the most important point here, a classification of the land. There is the most important here. There are classification of the land. After the measurement, the cultivable land was classified on the basis of the fertility of the land. The fertility is the most important here, and it is three category: good, middling, and bad. The land was further classified into four category: is a polas, parati, is a char, and the banjar on the basis of continuity to cultivation. The polas land was one which is a two crop where a rice every year. Parati land is however had to be a left follow as uncultivated for some time after the rising two crop to the recovered is the fertility. Their fertility is the most important for the land. The chars was the unfertilized is a tract of the land which was the both under cultivation. One is every 3 or 4 year, and the banjar is a land is the banjar land is which is unfit for cultivation and therefore the rarely both under to plug. The banjar bhumi is not a is a unfit cultivation on there. The land revenue are constituted to a block of the state as an income. The state therefore is constantly try to expand to the territory under cultivation to the maximize it is a revenue return. All the effort of the state were also is a focus in the ensuring of maximum is a realization of the revenue from to cultivator. The Mughals and land is the revenue administration was organized at the Praguns level. The task of surviving of land and collection of revenue was entrusted to different officials, and the Amin was the head of the surviving parties, whereas the Amil was in charge of the revenue collection. The Amin was assisted by there is a Nogo who was the reposter, and there is all the revenue record. The Chaudhary is associated with the Amil in their work of revenue collection. At the village level, the record were maintained by the Patwari and collection were made by the Muqaddam or village headman. And there were other officially such as the Patadar and Tracer was the Kum or clerk. And the record were maintained both in the person and language of the religion. The next is Patta and Kabiliyat. The Patta and Kabiliyat, what do you mean there? Patta and Kabiliyat is a cultivator was given to document by the state is called Patta. The title dead, and there is which is a give all the detail for of the various category of land held by the cultivator and the rate of the land revenue payable to him on different crop. A dead agreement is called is a Kabiliyat, according to which is the cultivator made to the a promise to pay a particular amount of land revenue to a state was taken from the cultivator. In addition to be a land revenue is a cultivator were also required to pay is intent to the additionally is a cheese in order to meet the cost of assessment and collection of revenues. So our next topic is the most important here. The role of the landed is the intermediaries in the revenue collection. There is the most important there a chapter of economics. The role of the landed intermediaries to in a revenue is a collection. Apart from the state officially various categories of intermediaries is excited to the between there a farmer and the state. There is the most important farmer and the state. This intermediaries is a play a crucially role in the land revenue of realizations, and they claim to the revenue is the impressions of their land are shared in the land revenue in a return for the service and rendered by them. And period of the establishment of the Delhi Sultanate, our source refer to term like Raja, Rajputra, Ranka and Mahasamanta is etc. There is the most important here a refer term like there. And this is the heredity of the right holders is a connected with the land. The collected land revenue, where is a heredity to the right holders is connected with the land. And they collected land revenue from the farmer of their respective areas and send a part of it to the state and keep a part with it himself from their substance. Besides what will have been to be a state granted to the tax and respect land to the Brahmins and their temple. And the land revenue from the such a area were collected by this is a grantees. During the Sultanate period, the landed is intermediaries is continue to be pay an important role in the revenue collection. The Khuds is a small landlord and the Dams is a villager, is a headman. And a group of intermediaries such as a Rai, Rana, Rawat, etc. enjoy to superiority is a right over to the land as a compare to on the average is a farmer and allow their khalsis to try to the content there is a power on the share of this group. Later Delhi Sultan like Gyanauddin and the Firoz Shah Tughlaq is give a content conscience of to them. And during the Mughal periods, Rais, Ranas and Rawat and others such as intermediaries as referred as the Zamindar. And there were is a people who had inherited to right over to the produce of the land. The Zamindar is a claim or direct share in the farmer produce. There is the most important. Jamidar is a claim to the direct share to the peasant of produce, and their share the varied from to the 10% to 25% in the different part of country. This claim is a coexist in a subordinate is a capacity with the land revenue demand of the state, and Jamidar also is associate the state and the Jagirdar in the collection of the land revenue. Anekta of the Sultan is a period in the modified from a become a Jagirs under to the Mughals. Its holder to Jagirdar is where to the pay through the revenue assignment. We have already discussed them in chapter 12. The is a Dama is our northern India and Petals is a Deccan. Active True Village is a headman who were responsible for collection of revenue and maintenance of the law and order in the village. For their service, there is a granted to revenue free village land. The Patwari is a northern India, is a Kulkarni, is a Deccan, who serve a village, is accountants were also paid similarly. Next topic is the most important here, burdens on the peasantry. There is the most important here, burden on peasantry. There is a chapter of the economics of history. There is a peasant is a forming to the overwhelmings or majority of the population in the middle India. It was the however not a homogeneous group. One end of the spectrum was represented by the rich peasant is a Khut and Makodams is during Delhi Sultanate and the Khuda Khas is during there is a Mughal period. Having a large holding and the cultivating there is a land with the help of the higher labor. The other end was represented by the small peasant and village is a manals and known as the various part of the India as a Balhars is a Reza, Ria, Ya Petalis, Akundabai, and Panka, Asta, and the Uparis, etc. The bulk of the peasantry was now by their generics is a term riot. There is the most important here. Overall, there is a peasants had to be pay a large parts of their produce as a land revenue. At the beside, a large number of landed is intermediaries is appropriated a share in the surplus of the produce. Apart from it is a medieval India is a peasant also had to be deal with the frequent is a natural calamities like a flood, famines, epidemics, etc. There is the most important here. There is a natural calamities is like a flood, famine, epidemics, and average is a patient's away found to the himself as subsisting on the marines or owing to be is regressive as the nature of the land tax. The extensive is a burden of interaction on the loan taken to frequent fame, disease and pandemic. The patient and the hardships and the resentment is occasionally is a culminated in the protect and revolt in the Dobas business led to a very serious agreement uprising in the regions. A large scale uprising of the Jat, Sikh and Marathas is a Santamin took place during the design of the empire is a Angrezev. Against this contaminant on was one of the factor behind this rebellion is act. That is important. The one next topic is the most important here. Artisanally is a non-agriculture production. That is the most important artisanally. There is a non-agricultural production here. Okay. Through the agriculture is a formed the occupation of the bulk of the people. A variety of craft also existed on the significant scale in the rural as well as the urban. The area of country and this craft introduced a textile, poetry making, dance, sugar making, metal work and paper makings is a woodwork and the arms and the horns is a manufacturing and see world of the mechanicals is a work etc. There is an important here and important is a prominent is a craft. There are what do you mean to the prominent of craft? The textile is a production was one of the most widely practiced craft of the Middle India. The India is a paper is produced for a major types of fabric, cotton, silk, woolen and mix is called cotton. Bengal, Lahore, Agra, Awadh and Patna and Fatehpur Sikri and the Gujarat etc. were a prominent cotton textile and production of originals. As a Kashmir, Lahore and Agra, where is a major Sawal as a carpet is making center. Apart from the manufacturing is a Bengal and the Gujarat were renowned for the export of textiles good. That is important. The art of the dyeing to the bleachings of development as a separate and specialized as a craft during this period. The Brauch and Allahabad, Surat, Patna and Sonagaon is a Deccan is a Masuli, Patrams, etc. Where is a major decline of the blessings of center. And sugar was a manufactured all over the country. Sugar in it is a variant, good and the powder is a fine, grain to the sugar etc. Were produced in a Bengal, Orissa, Ahmedabad, Lahore, Multan and many other places. There is a important. The minor interaction was another is a major industry. The major industry is the most important and shawl, set patries, alums, mica, etc. And the ware is produced on a large scale. The Sambar lake is a Rajasthan. Sambar is a Rajasthan in the lake. The Punjab rock salt mine in the sea water where is some major source of salt production. And sea salt was the mainly is a manufactured in the Bengal and Sindh and Malba as a Masur and the runners of the coach. Sapeltris is primarily used as an ingredient for manufacturing gunpowder. Was one of the most important mineral product. Initially, it was extracted as the Ahmedabad, Bordered, Patna, etc. However, by the second half of the 17th century, Patna became one of the most important centers for processing this mineral. And among metal, there is India was a deficient in the gold and silver mine, and this metal therefore where is mostly imported. The diamond mining was carried out of the most notable are Golconda. The some other center of the diamond production were by Birgaghar, Bered as a Panna is a Madhya Pradesh, and Khokhara is a Chota Nagpur, etc. And Patna Rajasthan was the main center of the copper production. Iron was the most is commonly found to the metal. The Bengal, Allahabad, Agra, Bihar, Gujarat, Delhi, Kashmir, Chota Nagpur, and adjoining to the regional of the Orissa, where is a major iron producing center of the middle period. The paper making as a craft was introduced in the middle. There is India during to the Sultanate period. It was the first manufacturing in the China around to the 1st century AD. The craft grew at the fast pace and the manufacture of the paper was prevalent during to the Mughal period in almost every region. The middle period is a witness is an advent of a number of new technical advice and there is a application in the drive to the sector. In the textile sector, introduction of the spinning wheel is a charkha. During there is the 13th century to the 14th century was the most important technology invention. It is a speeded up yarn to the production of by the 6th time in the comparisons to be spindle based yarn to the production. Similarly, pit other looms and introduced in India during the 15th century, which is speedily up to the process of weaving. The draw is a looms was another important weaving device which was used to the simultaneation is a pattern to the waves of different color and similarly block print is also is a attribute by one is a scholar to be medals India period. In the sector of the metalworks and the metal war, many new technology were introduced in the process of manufacture. Some of such a technology where is implement of the vertically bore speeds and deep mine with the oval is a shaft. The use of pulley etc. The production of the high quality steel and the batteries alloys of the copper and zinc were a new metal work of this period. In the arms of their armures of the manufacturing is a sector, the use of the gunpowder and cannon is a firearms, etc. Whereas some of the most important medieval inventional is their modern is the artillery was the mainly is both to be India on the one hand by the Barbars is who had received it from Paris. On the other hand by the Portuguese is beside. The Portuguese is here and beside is the Fateh Sirazis was the outstanding scholar. Is the Fateh Sirazis is the outstanding scholar and the engineer of the Akbar as a regime and made some of the inevitable is inventionally in this sector. The paper making as well have is a notice about the entry to India during this period. Along with all the development, the craft and book winding, there is a important. Although there is a glass making technology was known to be Indians during to the ascent period. Its use was restricted to the manufacturing beads and bangles. During the Middle period, various other glass products such as pharmaceutically is fills and vessels etc. And also is began to be a manufacture. The practice of the tin coating also is the entire Indian along with their advent of the truck. This technology involved the coating of tin inside the copper and the brass is utilized to be prevent the food from acid poison. And next year, organization of production. The craft production was organized in the village as well as the quest bus and they also exist to the empirical karakhanas in the rulers area, and the artisan produce the articles of the daily use. These artisans were a part of the village social network is called to the Jamani system. The Jamani system is most important here. That this artisan is a part of village and social network is called Jajmani system. And this systems was more organized to the Deccan and Maharashtra. The village is artisan as a servant in this is run to the school is a Balbutadar. And the town is a base individually artisan formed nucleus of such as accommodates which were produced from markets. Almost every craft had a specialized artisan who is a produce article from market. At this level of the organization of the craft production, the individual is an artisan is a himself is a process is a necessary raw materials and the tools manufacture is a commodities and the sold those in the market. And the next year, this mode of artisanally their production, however, are suffering from a major weakness. Since there is a production was organized on the individually basis, on artisans locked a big resource to be invested in the production process. Naturally, the size of final production remained small. A revised theory of form of production is called to the Dadani system. The Dadani system is gradually developed to the address the problem. In this system, on artisan was provided with the necessary raw material and advance is a money by such as a merchant who trade in the those is a commodities. And after the expire of the stipulated time, the merchant is collected the finished good and the sold them in a market. They are important. The royal is a workshop is a karakhana was another unit of the craft production, and these karakhanas were is a part of the royal establishment, and this unit produce is a commodities for the composition of the royal household and the court. Generally expensive and luxury items were produced here. The karkhana employed to the skilled workers who is a work under one roof and were to the surprised by the state officially. Apparently, there is two distinct is the types of karkhana existed. The first traditionally types of karkhana which is a produce a luxury good in a small quantity but of high artistry is value. Second, mines or arm is a manufacturing unit wherein the standard orient and the technologically advanced large scale as a production took place here. Important point here, trade and commerce. There is a part of economics. Economics here, a middle period. There is a trades and commerce. Then important for the same time, the India had a fairly developed external internal trade during to the middle period. The internal trade developed along the local, regional, and inter-regional level. Trade is relation with the religions like China, Arabia, Egypt, Central Asia, Afghanistan, where is mainly stand on the land routes. Its carry is the overseas as trade with the Persians and Gulf. The South China Sea as a Mediterranean and the Red Sea, the advent of the Europeans trading to the company. The Portuguese is a British, Dutch and French interfacified trading to activity in the Indian subcontinent. There is a motto and there the Asia is a maritime trade is also increasing during this period. And this period also is a witness to the proliferation of variety of new commercially activity such as the money, lending, brokerage, insurance, etc. We notice a large number of merchants, serif, brokers, etc. playing the active role in a commercially activity. The first trade here inland trade. By the Mughal period, inland trade has developed considerably as every locality had a regular market in a nearby town where his people from a surrounding area could sell and purchase things. Besides, there is trade at the local level was also is conducted to a periodic as market known as the Hearts and Pence, which were is held on the fixed day in a week. In this local market is modalities like food grain, salt and wooden and iron equipment. It's called as cotton, textile, etc. where is available. And this local market were linked to bigger commercially center in that particular region. And this center serve as a market from product not only from their specific regions but also from the regionals. And Delhi, Agra, Lahore, Multan, Vizapur and Hyderabad, Calicut and the Cochin, Patna, etc. There is an important place here. And where some of such a trading religions during the Mughal period. A brisk inter-regional trade was conducted as a luxury commodities, and Jalauddin Burns in their his Tectoricus a Firoshahi show that is a Delhi during the Sultanate period is received a distilled the wine from a called Aligarh and Muslims from the Devgiris established the cloth from the Lakshmatis and the ordinary cloth from Awadh. During the Mughal period, Bengal with it is important is a trading center. The Hooghly is a Deccan, is a Murshidabad, is a Satagan, and Patna had well-developed interregional trade with all part of India. Similarly, Surat Ahmedabad is the western India, is Agra is the northern India, whereas some of the important center with a fairly development inter-regional trade. This is important for here. The next topic is the foreign trade. There is an important for the Middle period. As a Mughal time, India has traditionally been to maintain trade relation with the other countries. During the earlier medieval period, from the 10th century onward, India is carried trade with the contemporary China, Arabia and Egypt. India also had a high stake in the sea trade between the Persian Gulf and South China Sea. India is imported silk and Persians and wares cambo and the cloves and the bags and sandalwood etc. From China and South Asia is a horse from places such as Bahrain and Muscat, Aden and Paris, etc. The India export included aromatic and spices. There is a cotton cloth, avos and perios and the semi-perios stone, etc. There is a foreign trade is the most important for the India. And during the Sultanate period, India had trade relation with the Central Asia, Afghanistan, to variations of Gulf and the Red Sea. India is mainly exported food grain, is a textiles, slab and indigo, precuse stone, etc. That is important for export. And where is the imported to the pursue metal like gold and silver, horse, black coats and silk stuff, etc. India during the Mughal period a witness to further interpacification of their foreign trade owing to the advent of the Europeans trading companies and their direct participations in the Euro-Asian and intra-Asian trade. India had a trade relation with the Central Asia and Persian and Europe. Here the major export included to textiles, salpatries, sugar, opiums and spices. In a comparison to here import very limited to few or select is accommodated like a silver, silk and procalians and good quality wine to the carpets, perfume, glass, watches and silver utilizing horse etc. The next topic here, the mercantilist community. Throughout their commerce of the middle period in India, the mercantiles is communities play an important role in the contemporary economics and society. During the Sultanate period is a caravanist and the nayakas where is a merchant and who is specialized in the carrying of grain from to the rural area. The barricades is a term, is caravans, is a meant by who is moved together in the large number, caravans is a main important. There is a move together for the large number. These people can be called Banjaras in the later century. And we also get a reference to the Multanis merchant who is specialized in the long distance trade. There is mostly is a Hindu merchant. We hear a number of mercantile classes during the Mughal period. The Banjaras have a innumerable reference in the contemporary literature as a trading group who is carried on trade between two village and between to the village and town. They are generally move with there is a family and the household in a group. The Multani is a merchant continue to the tribes is during the period as well as the place such as a Delhi, part of Punjab and Sindh. The Banaras was another important mercantile. There is a community in the northern India is Deccan. There is a counterpart as a Khatris is a Punjab and Komatris is a Golconda. Apart from their involvement in trade, and they also is active to the monoland. The Boers were to another prominent is a mercantile community during this Mughal period. It had a very strong presence in the Gujarat. Ujjain and Burhanpur is some of the other prominent is a mercantile groups where is a territories is a South India. And Kalings among to the Coromandel is a cultural up to the Odisha and Komatis, Telugu speaking to a merchant group. There is the most important and here a sheriffs. Sheriffs it is was a yet is another communities engaged in the Monteres taxations and reference in the communities began to appear from to the Sultanate period. However, there is a Mughal period is developed with three distinct functions. The function is the most important here. The first function here, money changers in this role is a sheriff was considered as expert in the judgings. There is a metallic purity of the coin as well as their weight. There are important metallic purity of the coin and the well as their weight. We also determine there is a current is exchange rate of the specific coin. And second here, as a bankers, they receive a deposit and give a loan on interest. And third point here, as the trader, they dealt in a gold, silver and jewelries. And besides, there is also issue the hundis or a bill of exchange. And the B part here, brokers. Broker known as a dalal. Brokers is called as a dalal. It was another important commercial class. That is important for the commercial class. It is emerged during the Sultanate period. However, brokerage become with the spirit of the commercially practiced during to the Mughal period, and they work to the middleman in a various commercial activity and transaction. The foreign merchant who is unacquainted with their center of production and pattern of marketing and the language is mainly dependent upon the broker from their tradings. And this brokers is a worker is a various capacities. Some of them were employed by merchant or companies. Some worker is an independent broker is served to many clients at the time. A few of them work as a state appointed to the brokers at the commercial center to the register sale and purchase of the articles. The broker fee also not strictly fixed. There is an important point here. The broker fees was not strictly fixed. It development on the commodity and the effort of the broker to strike to the deal. The next point here, a commercially practice. Along with the development of trade and commercial class, some new commercially practice also developed during the Middle period. There is a first point is a hundi. The hundi is the most important. The hundi or bills of exchange was made commercial practice. A hundi was simply a paper document promised or a payment of money after a fixed period of time. Here the contained place. This practice started to the because of the problem involving in the carrying large amount of the cash from one place to another. The staff is who is play the key role in the hundi transaction and generally had a number of establishments across to various town and city. They issue the hundi to the merchant is after accepting their cash to the transfer, and the hundis is indicating the amount, period and place of the encashment. The person is carried to hundi to there is a distractions. The presented into the agent of the issuing asaf and encashed their value of indicated. Apart from the merchant stay officially and other novel also use it is a transferring to money. The Hindu system established a safe and convenient a method of transferring money. Their shops is charges commissions for every hundi they issue. Important here. The insurance, the next point has the insurance. Insurance is the most important to the Mughal period. And this practice has become a best favorite to the especially during the Mughal period. Contain insurance firm mostly is dominated by shop and development which look us upon themselves the responsibility of the safe is a passage and delivery is a commercially good. In a case, is any damage to be goods in the transit of the happen, this is a firm where is liable to play of the compensation. A commission was charged as the insurance cover such a good. The rate of the commission varied according to be a different races and goods. The rate for the overseas is a transportation of good was high and good going to the overland. There is the most important here for a rate for the overseas is a transportations of the goods and high than is a good going overland. The next topic is the most important here, the currency system. The currency system there is the according to the Mughal Empire and Middle period. There is the most important the currency system on this time. The silver and copper coins were mainly in the circulation for the cash transactions. Under their sultanate, their pure silver taka. The pure silver here, taka, with the flattening of proportions of silver was the main is a coinage. The jittal and the dunks where is a copper coin. The value of the coins is a fluctuate with there is a change in the price of metal. Here show the diagram. Different types of coin. There is a most important for the same time. There is a most important coin show in this picture. This coin is the most important for the also is the Mughal period. There is important and this type is coin to the times on the Mughal periods. Under the Shah for the first time, the purity of metal is a coin of gold, is a silver and the copper was established. The rupees of silver come to be used as the basis coin from to transaction. It was of 178 grain. The same continued to the under Akbar with the minor fluctuating of under the successor. The copper dam of the Mughal was of 323 grain. The value of silver rupees to be copper dam and fluctuated as per the ability or scarcity of their silver. During to Akbar as a period, 1 silver rupees was the equal to the 40 copper dam. The gold as a sharifi had to the weight of 168 grain. The coin where is maintained at the royal mints spared in all the ports of the kingdom. During the Akbar as a period, gold coin is were to issue from 4 mines and silver coin from the 14th and copper coins from 42 mines. The number of the rupees mined increasing to the 40 by Aurangzeb time.